Yeah, the kids will say, oh, they're happy they're without us.
That was for Glenna.
Oh, okay. Is that what she does when she's happy?
Sophie's having a good time.
She's having such a good time that she can't eat her breakfast. And this is our lovely 100-year-old house that we're staying in, which I think they've kept up very well over the years.
And I think we're getting ready to finally go. Some of us are having a hard time getting up this morning.
We had to actually wake Sophie up.
And Dad.
Okay, so you had to wake up Dad. I appreciate the way you woke me up gently by turning on the TV in the next room.
Yeah, what'd you think? She's excited to go see all the museums.
Great. Get me in that stroller. Here's the visitor center and some old people we were sitting next to on our ride. We think they're non-members. They're on the buggy ride with us we just got off of. We're giving Sophie a little sunscreen. And next we go on a carriage ride. We just finished the wagon ride. And there's where the carriage ride takes off from.
Yeah. There's the Utah kids.
That's right.
Oh, Missouri.
Good to borrow it. So are you here for the day?
There's where the carriage ride will go.
Because I was looking through all the stories, I thought, well, heck, I don't think we can see everything in a day. We have to.
Yeah, well, we're going to go look at a little more, then we're going to go to Mark Twain's city.
Got a cute little kitchen. It's a nice view of the backyard. Got a little wood deck. And through those trees is the Nauvoo Temple. You can't quite see it from here. Oh, maybe barely. Somewhere right in there. But you can see it from upstairs. It's in the washroom in there. Hey Sophie, you stay right there, okay? Let's go see Mom. Extra bedroom. And there's the bedroom we're in. And here's Wendy, and she needs help because her back kind of hurts her. So she has to be, we have to rub her back or she can't do anything during the day. And it's out this window that you can see the Nauvoo Temple. That's it right there. Pretty cool.
Saturday saint, and he was called on a mission today. It's known today as Tahiti, and as he went on his mission there, he baptized 1,200 people.
Maybe that's better spray. Yeah, it's just your stinks a lot more than the other.
This is a carriage ride that we took. Actually, this one over here with some very nice missionaries.
While they were living here, they lost a son, a 14-year-old son. He had tuberculosis. And when the Latter-day Saints were preparing to leave Nauvoo to go to the west, his wife gave birth to twin baby girls. And they only lived 10 days, and then she died too. So he buried them up in the cemetery by their son John. Took his 4 remaining daughters, ages 14 down to 2, and started the trip to the west. They had gone 40 miles, and we're in Iowa when Brigham Young called.
Raise them on their buckets and they start yoking them up and start training them, and when they got them trained, they enter them into the fair. After they've won their ribbons with them, and they sell them. Just like the Grand Champion beef or the Grand Champion hog, you know, they sell these ox meat.
But there aren't very many people that use them.
driving these just like the pioneers did.
Oh, they just got out beside him.
Yeah, and they would
Yeah,
talk
well.
and whisper to him.
Or gourd, they said.
And how long have you known these oxen?
Well, I've been here going on 17 months now. I guess I've been here 17 months. Going on 18, and I've known them. They've been here about the same time.
Ah, okay.
They came, I guess, right after I got in here.
Do you do other things or just the oxen?
Well, I work there. I'm a teamster, so we just switch all over.
Okay.
But I've been in sites too before. Okay, come on. That's better.
Now they never actually start galloping.
Well, before this morning, I would have told you no. They ran away on me this morning before I ever got them up here to the wagon.
Wow, an actual run.
Oh, they low. They mean tuck.
And how long has this facility been here?
I don't know, but I don't think it's very long.
Yeah, because I was here 17 years ago and I don't remember
Yeah,
this.
all the stuff was done in houses. You remember?
Sure.
You go in one house, and that chipped off these what they called staves.
And you just get the right, you get the right thickness.
They first cut it, yeah. That would assure it. And they first cut it the height of the barrel they wanted. You ought to lift this and see how heavy that one little piece of wood is, and that's real hardwood, folks. Then they'd take them.
Outhouse, you mean like a restroom? This is the back of the bakery we were at earlier. Wendy wants to find out about what this is out here.
Oh, so sleepy.
Because you got up early. This is the bakery, the Nauvoo Bakery, Scoville Bakery. And this is where there's a kind of traditional fireplace and like a brick oven, I guess. And I didn't realize how well they did all their tin workmanship, but all this tin stuff here is from the era with all that fine detail. Excellent metal workers. I just picked and ate one of these and they're not too bad, but we're not quite sure what they are. So we're gonna go get some lunch now. Where is Wendy going? Ah, she's very inquisitive. She wants to see what that white gate is protecting. So what is it? Oh, it's just a foundation for a basement? What street are we on? I think we're on Main Street and that's white. All the streets are the original names of the streets in the area. And they keep finding new foundations. Oh, you're right, you do. Okay, where are we?
On the Trail of Hope on Harley Street. This is where the saints would go in their wagons and line up as they would take the church going across the river. And from here you can see the temple, and as they would leave their homes, which they had recently established, they would come.
Because they're only here 7 years. That's amazing. And all along the way, yeah, I did. And all along the way are journal quotes. And Wendy will read this one for you. Okay. Never mind. But you can read it there. And I would imagine there were homes out here even. All this whole area was populated because there was a lot of people here. How many?
12,000.
12,000. You can see the river out here. And this goes all the way down to the river, like Wendy said. And the prophet said that everyone should have the opportunity to walk down Parley Street and read these journal entries as you go along. So, as the song says, we're following the prophet.
Hot. Now the other brick is what they call a salmon brick. This brick never got hot enough. So the sand in here is still sand. It's been turned to glass. So that brick is not too good brick. About 3% of your run was these kind of bricks. But when you came in to buy bricks to build your house, you bought them all. You got the good ones and the bad ones. They would just assign you a part of that kiln and say, between there is your bricks. You take them, you got them all, you pay for them. But they didn't cheat you. Wilford Woodruff was called by the prophet Joseph Smith to go to London, England for his mission. 3.5 years. He was just building his house. He stood off the ground, he had to stop and go. When he got over to London, he put in his journal, I nearly froze to death in that cold London fog. You know, London is very cold and damp a lot of the time. And so he said, I'm never going to get that cold again. So when he got back home here, finished building his house, he built it up, he put a fireplace in every room in the house. He's got 8 rooms, he's got 8 fireplaces. He was not going to get cold. What was that?
And that's a ceramic surface. Ceramic brick on the top to hold the heat.
Yeah, it's a ceramic.
So how many bricks can you make in a day?
Oh, that depends on how many people come and how many of us are working here.
Yeah.
If there's 3 working full time there, you can make up 500 bucks.
How long does one batch cook?
And if there's just 2 of us working with the tours coming, we can make it's 140 and that's all we make a day.
Okay, Tim, better slow down. 20 miles an hour. This is outside of Lucy Mack's house, which is the original house. Here we are on the corner of Hubbard and Page Street on the north side of Nauvoo, and this is the site of
My great-great-great-grandfather, Isaac Harrison. And right, this is his lot as seen on the Nauvoo maps that we looked up at the Nauvoo Records and Lands office earlier today. And the records show a map and it's marked, and Wendy did the cartography work, and this looks like this is the very spot right here. Now we're going to pan the camera around in just a minute and show you what it looks like all around here.
You mean I have to get out of the car?
No, you have to pause it. So here's the view from the front of his lot, what he would look out over. Probably their house is here as well. And now, of course, these are regular residential homes. And here's the actual lot that he owned in the 1840s. They left Nauvoo in, 1847. So during that time, and they're only there for about 7 years, so 1840 to 1847, I guess. Very good. And here's a lot across the street. And here's the minivan that we rented. This is the old Nauvoo burial grounds. And just a little parking lot here in the woods. And as you can see, the little entrance. So here we go. Wow, that was really pretty. Go ahead.
That's okay. Playing with you.
Yeah. You holding on, Sophie? You doing okay? Hold on, that mom could bolt any time if you don't steer her just right.
This is the memorial that lists the names of the people who are buried here. It's probably not light enough to see, but at least one of our ancestors is here. Right here.
How do you do that?
Joanna Ryan Lewis.
Yep.
Possibly Henry. And
Henry J might be the son.
is that still on?
Yeah.
Joanna was married to Benjamin Lewis, and they had 8 children and lived at Hans Mill. And Benjamin was killed at Hans Mill, and Joanna brought her 8 kids to Nauvoo, where she died.
How old was she?
When she died?
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's on that paper.
She couldn't be too old, huh? Had 8 kids with her still.
When her husband died, she was 38, which is the same age as me right now. And so she died, I think, 6 years later. So she'd be 44. There should be some headstones, but ours doesn't have one apparently. Here, take a picture of it. I think I should have brought your shoulder over.
So we're told that the geese winter here, and also in the spring is when they lay their eggs. And the geese we see are teenagers that have come back because they grew up here and now they've come back. We're going to finish going down Parley Street, where all these placards tell the history, journal entries of when they left Nauvoo. Like there's B.H. Roberts. Just one more shot, because they're so interesting. This is a quarry for the Nauvoo Temple.
If you heard the demonstration about the material, They could have bought material was sent from England, but they didn't have the money. So, well, we're talking about candles.
Oh, that's all interesting.
And so here's the wick, and they would tie a rock on the end so that the candles would be straight. And the boys' job, I must say, had to be a little bit harder too, to make these sticks so they were smooth enough that they could slide these back and forth on and off, you know, put them on. So they could do 6 like this. You cut this in the middle when they get big enough. This is how they do, they're just getting these started. So that's a lot.
I see. They dip one end, then you dip the other end, and
Okay, so I hold it in for 5 seconds. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I'm sorry. That's great. We did have a prettier green. So
I had prettier
so
green.
you just dip it in the one time, just to coat it. Okay, then where do you let it sit out? It dries super fast. You can touch it right now.
But the older wax needed more time, or they really wanted it to set up for the next layer.
The animal fat took longer. It would take 15 to 20 minutes to dry before they...
Because it really is windy. And so his wife, of course, with 9 children they had when they were here, and she had to go out to get water from the well outside here 2 or 3 dozen times a day. You know, we always need water all the time. Family for cooking and washing and so forth. So in the wintertime, that was pretty miserable to have to go out.
Yeah, sure.
So he didn't want to have her going out like that. So maybe she was asking him to go out. And the motivation.
That's when he started thinking, yeah.
So then he decided, in the basement here, I'll just have a well done. And then you can just go down and get the water. Whenever you need it. We'll have to go outside.
Gun shop. His son was the most famous one of all once they got to Ogden, Utah. His son's the one that has all the inventions, but this is the gun shop where they make the barrel.
Honey, that's an hour at each place. We're
I know,
slowing
but
down.
that's the only one that's going to be that long. The others are very short.
Yeah, they got fun with that one. So there's
Where's Sophie? You're pushing an empty stroller. It's another perfect day here in Nauvoo, Friday morning. Kind of our last full day here. This is the house we're staying in. It's about 100 years old. And right next door is the school where the Cape Ner kids go to school. We saw them getting dropped off the other morning, even though they live 5 minutes or so out of town. And I'm not sure what we're going to do today, but Wendy's been so good at planning out our day every day, taking care of Sophie. And it looks like we're on our way.
saw it there.
We haven't even left yet, and the
I can't
Chex
help
Mix
it.
have already been opened. Sophie, what do you think about that? Hey, sweetie pie! You love church history, don't you? Yeah, she does. We've been having a good time together. Okay, got any plans for today? All right.
I need to go to the store and buy some tissues.
Okay, we're on our way then. Here we go.
Is that one of their homes?
I don't know, he lived in a cabin here on the property before he built the home. So I don't know, there's not, we can go on in here and see what a frontier
Is
kitchen
this the original home?
Yes, it is. I was telling his sister, I was down there looking to see if, peeking under this rug and I could see down in the basement. I says, yeah, these floors have to be original.
Oh, really?
Wow. Of course, while Wilford was gone on his many missions, Phoebe had to take care of the children and the family and took on many responsibilities while he was gone. This is just kind of a typical kitchen. This one does
Mother's house. Was this really the child's room? Well, I guess they had a lot of children.
Yeah, well,
How many did they have?
I think 3 children. Well, they had 9 children. but only 4 of them lived. But I think here they may have had just about 3 of them.
So did they all die when they were babies?
I don't know.
That's interesting.
That went out the window.
How?
Oh, he said that he traded for bricks also. Not just paid for them, but he traded. He traded a shawl, a pantaloons. What else was it, Sister Rogers? Pantaloons. Pair of shoes. Okay. Now pantaloons are men's breeches. That's what he's, and worth $7 and something. Worth of bricks.
This is Brigham Young's home. Wendy's already gone inside. Another perfect day, about 75 degrees and crisp, no humidity.
Now wait a minute, I'm remembering, is it New Hampshire or Vermont? Vermont.
It was Vermont.
Vermont, I get them mixed up. I'm thinking Lucy Mack Smith here. Wait a minute, wrong one.
Well, you go from house to house,
I know,
don't you?
so I had to keep this straight here. And he, of course, joined the church when he was about 30 years of age. And, you know, having here the pictures
The original
that were,
china that they found buried here at the site that
that
perhaps
stored
Brigham
all
Young
these
had
pictures
buried
there.
so that they could find them again later.
Yeah.
And they did.
Well, she was right.
And
Somebody found it.
And this was buried as well.
But I'm surprised nobody found it before then. That's so interesting.
Well, they didn't think to start digging around here, I guess.
Yeah, and he says that there was actually a wood floor and a rock floor underneath that, and they think that he may have removed the other floor and just started filling that up and using it as kind of a garbage pit or something like that. I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but of course then over the years, this house being continuously lived in, when there was a couple of little ladies that they bought it from when they took off the paneling that was on this side of the wall, they found the original fireplace. So the fireplace is the original fireplace that they used back then, which is wonderful that they were able to find that.
Yeah, replace a few bricks.
And in the
Same as the other.
yeah, in the area they found the curl. And so she wrote this letter to him. My dear companion, I sit down to communicate a few lines to you at this time. My heart is full. I know not what to write you at this time to comfort you. We have had great afflictions in this place since you left home. I expect you will have the particulars of this letter. I wrote a letter to send to you. It was in the house 3 weeks without any chance to send it. The mail has been stopped from the east. It is stayed by the mob. It has not been in but once for 3 or 4 weeks. I wrote an addition to Nauvoo and a daughter, Valette. I've never figured out how to pronounce it.
Yes, that's how I hear it pronounced.
Valette.
Uh-huh.
And then when he lived here, he had 3 sons and 3 daughters that lived here and used these little rooms up here. So.
And the paintings on the wall,
I think everything here is pretty much just artifacts of the area. I don't know if there's anything.
it looked like his kids.
But he, of course, was very interested in culture. He grew up in a very strict background where he was not even allowed to listen to music. So when he was introduced to drama and music and all that, he just embraced it whole.
So way out here, away from the main street, is the Sarah Granger Kimball home. We're going to go see if that has any relationship to our family.
Where the boys were. So I didn't tell you Miss Cook's story. She really wanted to help out with the temple. You might have heard this before, and so she decided that she and Miss Cook could sew shirts for the temple workers so that they would have something to give. And since Hiram wasn't a member of the church, she was kind of careful of how she donated his money.
Just for those couple of years before he joined.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Well, they weren't here very long.
So they started sewing shirts, and then they thought, oh, this is great. We'll ask other sisters to come in and help out. So she asked other sisters to come in, and they decided to make it a women's society. Had Eliza Arsenault to make up a constitution for them. And Eliza presented it to Joseph Smith. And he said, well, this is really good, sisters. The Lord's well pleased with this and with your work. And he has even a better idea than written constitution for you. And so then at their next meeting, he instituted Relief Society.
So she
Wow.
was the one that kind of instigated it with her.
I mean, I won't tell you the harsh version of everything. No, and I've only been in here once. I'm actually a teamster. I drive the horses, so
Okay.
this is not my lifeblood here.
Okay.
Have you been to Rendezvous?
We went last night and we saw you. You were the printer, were
Saw
you?
me, I was the editor. Oh my gosh, did you see how bad I messed up?
Oh, it was
Not
great.
at all. It was very entertaining.
It
We
was
were
great.
Did you like it? Okay. Now this is sewed together, and I don't think they sewed things in those. But that would be
Hand
laced.
hand
Hand
stitched. Yeah.
Hand stitch.
All right. Just like yay. Okay, now they get them a piece of leather that's going to be on the heel, or I mean on the bottom, and put their nails in it and tack it in there, and then they take this, fold it around there, like yay. Am I right, Elder?
Right.
Pretty close, huh?
This is the Joseph Smith and Emma Smith home where they lived when they first got to Nauvoo for a couple of years. And the log cabin was already built. The small cabin in back was built for his parents, Joe Smith Sr. and Lucy Mack Smith, and then later became her summer cookhouse. And this is all part of their original homestead, the original land they bought in Missouri when most of this area was swampland, and this area became the family cemetery where many family members are buried.
Oh yeah, she is so much easier than the other ones. I don't know. We got lucky, I guess. Well, I hope so. That's even harder because then when you have
Here's the actual headstone for Joseph and Hiram and for Emma. And after they died, their bodies still had a reward out because they were wanted dead or alive. So Lucy asked that their bodies be taken from the coffins and rocks be put in for the initial burial up by the temple. And then later they were moved a couple of other times, and when they were eventually found, they were near this little outdoor house structure, and a surveyor was hired by the RLDS church, and he found them, and then they were moved here, given a more of a proper burial with real headstones. Here's some of the others that were buried in the family cemetery. All the burial places of the Smith family are not known, but some of the more prominent ones are the Joseph Smith Sr. and Lucy Mack Smith, and a few others are down there.
that one lady said, she said, well, they didn't have the Smith name, nobody bothered them. Well, these guys all have the Smith name, nobody bothered them.
Hello, Wendy. Enjoying your vacation?
Very much.
And I can't remember where Sophie is, but she's with us somewhere. Would you like to say anything to posterity? Anything to your children?
Work hard.
That's right. Work. If we don't make it home, only this videotape, work hard. That's good advice. That's Joseph and Hiram depicting them leaving Nauvoo for the last time on their way to Carthage, with a plaque beneath them quoting Joseph Smith, saying that something to the effect that these are good people who live here and they have no idea the trials they're about to face. And so we're up here next to the temple, and this is the Mississippi River down below.
The one girl, another one boy that was
This is northern Nauvoo, which was originally Commerce. I'm on Main Street as it comes from Nauvoo into Old Commerce. And this is where Frederick Granger Williams' lot is located. He was between Brattle and Carlos on Main Street. And he had a, looks like perhaps an acre lot right in this location, right along the river. He followed the saints, it appears from the records I was reading. He followed the saints out here to Nauvoo, even though he had been excommunicated the year before. And in 1840, in a conference, he was presented in front of the conference by President Hiram Smith for forgiveness and rebaptism into the church, which was unanimous. Then he lived another 2 years and died of a tumor of the lung in Quincy, Illinois. This is one of the original canals built by the saints in Nauvoo to move all of the spring water that was flooding the land that they wanted to build their homes on. And so they built these canals and bridges to move the water the best they could from up high on the bluff all the way down to the river. And so the water would flow in these canals instead of flooding all of their land. And where they needed roads, they built stone bridges. And this is the original stonework and the original canal. You can only go down a few feet before you hit layers of limestone, and so they couldn't make the canals very deep. They had hoped to make deep canals, even some deep canals through town, that even boats could go on, to go down the middle of town, so they could avoid some rapids in the river by coming through Main Street and then back onto the river again. And this is now a historical marker we saw along the side of the road on our way out of Nauvoo. Here's a little bit of the history of the area. The first white settlement, 1824. Hancock County in 1830 gets a post office. It was called Commerce before Nauvoo, and that was in 1834. And then, of course, Nauvoo, 1839 through 46. And then a French community moved in here from 49 to 56. And over here we learn about the French community. Back up here a little bit. That 3 years later they move in, and they're kind of a commune as they all came in together, which I'm sure they appreciated all the swamps being drained and all of the stone and brick and lumber from all the old houses being available for them to build homes. And it's another beautiful day in Nauvoo, just perfect weather. None of the heat or humidity just last week.
Browning, and he used it for a home for 30 years. The reason this building is still standing is because it's been kept up. It was inhabited the whole time. It was never left to just sit and deteriorate. And so that's why you see so much of it is in the original form. And when Mr. Browning died in 1903, Mrs. Browning contacted the church and yeah, there's a little bit of a, yeah, right. There's a slant there. You can go on in the parlor room right there and I'll tell you. This would have been where this jailer's wife served her meals.
Sophie.
I'll tell you what's original. The floor is the original floor. The doors are the same, except there's 3 doors that you can see that have been replaced, but not the one on the martyrdom room. It is the same door. And the casings around the windows and the baseboards are all original. So anything that can be picked up, the church has put that in here to make it look like a. So that is that part of it. Oh, remember this bed. I'm going to tell you something more about this bed. And I'm going to take you into the debtor's cell next. This door, notice how they built it, is like it's a Christian door. So they have the cross and then like the Bible on the bottom. That's how they built those. Is there any question about anything? Do you all heard about their refrigerator? They would. And he's trying to protect the people that are with him, to comfort him and help him. He's trying to protect them by sending them out. Okay, we'll go up to the dungeon.
I have a question about the walls. They're so thick. Are they? Sorry, I
That's so you'll watch your head.
Right, watch your head. Oh,
Especially him. He's a tall guy.
That's right. He would have a problem there. So this is the dungeon cell, and see through that little window how thick the walls are.
So I was trying to figure out, like, does each stone this wide, or
Did
is
I,
it
now
2 or 3
outside, did I
levels?
tell you to look at these for my total?
Oh my goodness.
You wouldn't believe the stories that we get from people that have been here, say, I was in here in 1950, I was here in 1940 or 18, not 18, but it's amazing what they tell us that we don't read or know about. Let me tell you, the role that this dungeon cell played in the martyrdom is that when Joseph plunged out of the window next door, the mob ran back downstairs to go out and see what had happened to him. And Willard Richards was the only person in there who was alive and not wounded. And there was a prophecy made a year earlier by Joseph. He said, Willard, the time will come, you've heard this, when bullets will fall around you like hail, and your friends will fall to the right and to the left of you, but there will be not so much as a hole in your garment. And Willard had a powder burn on his neck, and a ball had just tinged his ear. He had a few drops of blood, was all. And you'll see in there, I'll show you where he would have.
It's really stirred me, my goodness.
It seems like when the Brownings owned it, people must have been coming right from the beginning, curious about it and wanting to see it. And so they would have had to do chores. They don't tell us anything, no, they don't know. And they could have had a kitty, and people could have put some money in if they would show them through. We don't know. But they didn't change it. They could have gotten rid of that door.
So that's been marked up.
They didn't cover the floor because for years people came in here and the blood was still there. And then they covered it with some plastic.
That's good.
And somebody told me last week that people, where the blood was, they were chipping away pieces of it for souvenirs. Here. So, 100 years later, I read this. 100 years later, this was brought back by someone, and they said it was a descendant of Hiram. And they had seen this cut out, and they found it in a workshop, in a toolbox of somebody. And they brought it to see if it matched, and it matched the grain of the wood.
Erring man of grief hath often crossed me on my way, who sued so humbly for relief that I could never answer nay. I had not power to ask his name, or to he went, or whence he came. Yet there was something in his eye that won my love, I knew not why.
Just look on the right.
Frederick Granger Williams headstone in the, what's the name of the cemetery? Woodland Cemetery here in Quincy, Illinois. And as the plaque says, he's actually buried in another nearby cemetery, Madison Park Cemetery. And this is an amazing cemetery. He's in the Pinkham family plot. It was a son-in-law. And this cemetery dates back to the 1700s. The founder of Quincy is buried here, and you can see the Mississippi River. And how many miles south of Nauvoo is this? 25 or so? 60? 60 miles south of Nauvoo.